Welcome to Microbiome Minute. My name is Whitney Kell. I'm a certified coach, and I have the honor and privilege to bring to you really expert in gut health, Krishnan, who's for over 15 years been in research and development of gut health and has been training health professionals all over the world on how to better understand gut health and really probiotics. You've done 50 lectures just in the last year to health professionals all over the country. On my last episode with you, you shared how you travel all over the world and you don't get sick because you take your own product, which is incredible. And you have 13 clinical trials going on all over. And this particular interview is based on those trials. Would you share a little bit about the military trial that you have going on?
Yeah, so we've been talking to the military, and it's interesting that there are these nutritional centers for the military that basically cover the entire armed forces. There was a study a few years ago out of, I think it was New Zealand, where they followed new military cadets through basic training, and they were looking at changes to the gut microbiome, so all the microbes that live in their gut, through the process of basic training, and then deploying them out to a conflict zone and kind of figuring out what is going on with their gut and how they respond to being in that high stress conflict zone environment. As it turns out, the stress of going through basic training alone dramatically increases leaky gut in these new recruits. When you have severe leaky gut, then you end up with severe inflammation, and you end up with mood disorders and so on. So when you take someone that you've now given leaky gut to and put them in a high stress combat type of environment, you are significantly increasing their risk for coming back with PTSD and other emotional issues. You're also reducing their ability to recover from some of the physical injuries that they get as well. So that became a big focus of the U.S. Armed Forces, where they're actually trying to figure out how to put in the right nutrients into the foods that soldiers typically eat in order to fix the microbiome and undo some of that leaky gut. And so that's where we've come in. We've been working with them to figure out how to formulate probiotics, the right probiotics and prebiotics into some of those MREs and the foods that they typically serve on base and on ships and overseas, wherever they're installed, to be able to get those products into their system in order for them to be able to combat this leaky gut issue. Because that leaky gut issue is making the outcomes of our soldiers that much harder, because they're having a harder time dealing with the stress of battle and being away from home and traveling and so on. It also makes them more susceptible to gut infections. And one of the common questions I got when I first started talking to groups within the military is, can't we just give them yogurts? We have yogurts and keifers in the mess halls. Can't they just use that? And then it became really important for me to explain to them that, fermented dairy like yogurts and keifers, and then, of course, other fermented products like kombucha, even though they're fermented and they can be beneficial to the gut, they are not a source of probiotics. What they are, in the case of yogurt and kefir, they are fermented dairy, and during that fermentation, they produces a lot of organic acids and all that are good for the gut. They act as food for your good bacteria, but they don't actually provide protective microbes into your system, because the bacteria that you find in the yogurt and in the kefir, the moment you drink that stuff or eat that stuff, that bacteria is dying in your stomach. It can't survive through the gastric system. So although you're getting some benefit from them as a gut health benefit, you're not sending in those really effective probiotic bacteria that can actually seal up the gut, reduce inflammation, bring down the growth of pathogens, increase the growth of your good bacteria, and then, of course, importantly, fight off any potentially invading bacteria. Our soldiers are out there battling on our behalf. They've got a really difficult battle going on in their own guts because they're out there. So the least we can do is provide them with the tools to win that battle on their inside of the body, just like they're winning the battles for us on the outside.
That is fantastic, Kiran. Not only are you helping our health professionals in the country, the healers who are trying to heal people, but the people who are protecting us, you're providing them with protection, which is incredibly amazing that you're able to provide that information, and that our military really cares enough about their soldiers that they want to bring you in. And you use that metaphor as the generals in our bellies, in our gut. So it's a perfect connection. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I was shocked when I realized that the military was so progressive and so on top of this science that they've made it a focus to deal with things like leaky gut and dysfunction in your gut and the stress of travel and how that affects everything, especially when they come back home. You know, it's accolades to them for being on top of the science. So it's an honor to be able to do any work in that arena at all. But it's a great example of what happens to people who aren't soldiers, who aren't traveling overseas and going to conflict zones, but people have stressful lives, right? And we're exposed to antibiotics and all of these things that disrupt our gut. Those things can affect our guts in the same way that the soldiers are affected as well.
Yeah, we're all in the war of our own lives every single day. And to have the military have something, because we know PTSD can destroy somebody's life, and how the hormones we talked about in women, how this helps with hormones. It sounds like it actually helps with men as well in a different way, but similar, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Both men and women are equally susceptible to hormonal changes. We all need the happy hormone, the serotonin, the dopamine. We all need lower amounts of the stress hormones, the epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, and all of those things are controlled by the health of your microbiome. So the healthier your gut is, the healthier your hormonal response is going to be.
Yeah, and finally, I just want to repeat this because you debunked what I think a lot of people believe, because I've been told this by many people, is I like to take my probiotics through yogurt or the kefir. Like, I didn't even realize that the kefir. So the fermented products, which you also shared with me earlier, is not, that's the thing that lays the foundation to bring in the probiotics, but it is not probiotics. So people need to have both.
People need to have both. They're not the same at all. They don't function the same. They don't provide the same benefit. You are actually negating significant progress and protection in your own system if you just do, you know, if you just say, I'm just doing my kefir, that's my source of probiotics. You're actually not getting all the benefits that you should be getting in terms of protecting your gut. And here's the fact. The fact of the matter is we live in a very toxic world. Right? Everything around us is basically designed to kill off bacteria, including all of the pesticides and all that on our food, and the chlorine and fluoride in our drinking water, and all the personal care products that we're exposed to, all the preservatives in our foods and so on. And so we are in a constant battle to maintain homeostasis in our ecology. And so everything we can do to help ourselves maintain that ecology is going to pay off in spades in the long run in terms of chronic illness. You know, so if you're taking a kefir and you're doing that every single day, that's great. And that's kudos to you. But make sure you get an effective probiotic as well, because it's going to do something different.
Outstanding. Yes. So thank you for shedding some light on the military and on our yogurt assumptions. There's some myths that people debunked in this one for sure. Thank you so much, Kiran. What an honor to interview you. And I'm excited about our next Microbiome Minute. Please join us, and look forward to hearing more from you, Kiran.
Thank you.
Thank you.